Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and a quick update over at the situation at the Pokrovsk Front. At the Pokrovsk Front, there is this very shocking, or maybe it's not that shocking, but no, a very important geolocation. So geolocation of Russian forces at this position. So this is an expansion of previous geolocations. Previously, the Russians were geolocated in these two positions. This time around, the Russians are getting shelled in a new position, which means that we can now confirm the Russians' presence remains in Pokrovsk, and the Ukrainians probably don't even know where the Russians are exactly in totality. And so now this part of Pokrovsk is now surely have some kind of Russian presence, and the Ukrainians may not know or dare to venture into Pokrovsk now. At least in the southern half of Pokrovsk, things are getting very tricky. They may not necessarily know where the Russians are, and the problem right now is that we do not know where the Russians actually enter from. So the link between this position and or perhaps this entire region here to the front line is unclear how they get there. And the thing is that even this previous geolocation, I did mention that this geolocation may also be just DRGs. It may not necessarily be just full-fledged Russian troops, which is there to hold the line. So now the Pokrovsk situation is entirely under the fog of war. We have no idea what the hell is happening. And my trusted source, Reba from Russia, the open source intelligence, also echoes what I think as well, that the current Pokrovsk situation is under the fog of war. And in their mapping, they also draw this as a gray zone, and they just draw an arrow like this because they themselves don't dare to commit into know what this actually is. I know some pro-Russian sources which are more excited, they would simply just draw it like this. They would draw like, the front line already look like a limping banana. But sorry, not limping bananas. Bananas all look like this. But no, but that will be deep ingenuous because that is probably not the reality per se. But the fact that the Russian DRGs or the recon troops or sabotage troops are already inside Pokrovsk and they are wandering around, and the Ukrainian troops do not have the manpower to actually control every street. Maybe they don't even dare to put up roadblocks, because standing at the roadblock you are just a target. So I think Pokrovsk might fall to the Russians because of phantom soldiers. Yeah, I'm not sure if you understand what I mean. It's like the troops defending Pokrovsk or deployed to Pokrovsk may be so paranoid that every corner might have a Russian soldier, that they just decide to retreat. After a single engagement, they were just like, oh shit, then they just run, and then they retreat entirely out of Pokrovsk, and Pokrovsk just falls to the Russians without too much of a fight. I mean, that is not an impossibility, because there is actually war stories that happened before in World War II. There's a story where the forward recon troops of the Japanese in Malaya come upon a fortress, a fortification of the British armed forces, and this British force, if I'm not wrong, the units is like Indian troops, and of course Indian troops with the British commanders and whatnot. They got contacted by these Japanese recon forces in the middle of the night, and they proceed to firefight. Then the next day, the main force of the Japanese came, and then when they approached the fortification, they realized the British are no longer there. The entire British force abandoned the defensive position, and they just overrun the position without a fight. And according to British sources, after that, it was the report by the ground troops in of the British side claimed that they were under heavy attack by a huge number of Japanese forces, and they abandoned position. But actually they were just fighting a small recon force. This could actually be happening in Pokrovsk, where small number of troops were wandering all over Pokrovsk, and the Ukrainians got freaked out, and they presume that there's a lot more Russian troops than there is. Like, they basically abandoned the city due to phantom troops. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying that this is a possibility of what could happen, because now we have no freaking idea where the front line is in Pokrovsk, to be honest. Like, this is not even the front line. This is just our mapping. This is not the front line. We do not know where the front line is. I have no freaking idea where the Russians are defending the line, the firm line that they are defending. There's just Russian troops walking over Pokrovsk. Like, this geolocation was Russian soldier walking over Pokrovsk. So now you have Russian soldier walking over Pokrovsk. So is Pokrovsk still under Ukrainian control? I have no freaking idea. So anyway, you let me know in the comments what you think. And happy birthday to you. If your birthday today, press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.